SK Misfits concludes, and I've got two Misfits next to me here at the desk. The game, the set, and the match. And of course, we asked you beforehand to predict the winner. And you with conviction. Caedrel went first, need I add, and need I remind you. And he went for SK. That is a flippity flop. And at the stakes were to have your hat stolen by the illustrious.
The hat on my head.
You are a marvelous man.
Thank you.
Not only are you the hat claimer, the quiz destroyer, but you also single-handedly mind-controlled SK, big Vi Alistar into Poppy.
Well,
for that, I congratulate you.
Thank you. Fear me. Doubly so if you're the Four Horsemen waiting for me in Classic and Nox Ramus. Triply so if you're Mark Caedrel Lamont in any future challenges. As I have ascended, I have more triangles than the new Tekken Netflix animation.
Yeah, and you have the same amount of polygons as old Poppy. But we can get into this because not only were we supposed to be breaking it down, we've got replays. We selected some replays. That's what we're here to do. We have to break it all down. And we've chosen a couple of moments that we have to provide you. Now, the little twist is that we're going to be doing so through commentary. Now, that's something you've done. That's something you've done. You do it all the time. I do it all the time.
Play-by-play commentary.
Yes.
Play-by-play specifically.
So I'm going to slide this.
I don't know, man. Sometimes.
But, you know,
I've seen you cast.
Let me get myself gassed up. I'll go last, I guess.
So who's... Okay, so this is for me. Oh, God, this is for me. All right.
Machine.
And we have to do it with an American sportscasting accent. Oh, okay. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Berlin, Germany, as we look at our first replay. It's Gilius giving up the first blood up against the Shyvana. You can see an action on that top lane. It was a bit of a stun into the wall. The rock connects. Irrelevant. Out of time. Out of life. What is going on here? As I don't even know what I'm talking about. Gilius is the one I'm supposed to be talking about on the Vi. Fist looking to thrust, a flash, and a bit of a fumble, looking like a bit of a pillar because he's actually given up the first blood. The juicy melons, not juicy enough. And I'm glad it's Counter-Strike, to be honest. I'm glad it's Counter-Strike. I was casting this the Shyvana thing.
S-tier English accent Counter-Strike caster, and you are a solid, I will give you a solid League of Legends American caster.
Yeah?
Yes, you're solid.
Give me time. I could do better. But it's not me we're talking about, because Drakos, you're up next. You're caffeinated. Let me take that away.
Thank you.
Focus on the game. What's his challenge? You've got a former child star.
That makes sense.
Realizing they're no longer relevant.
Wait, what is that?
That's really niche. He told me to be more. He told me to be ready to sweat. I thought I was going to have to do jumping jacks.
Can you take a moment, kind of method act, get yourself into the mindset of a former child star, realizing that they are no longer relevant? And if we can start rolling the clip. Thank you.
Okay, and here we see the dive coming out. Wow, they're doing so fantastic, and I'm starting to wonder if they didn't call back because they don't really need me anymore. And I was relevant in Happy Days, just like this Alistar might have been relevant if there wasn't a Poppy in the game. Oh God, am I what's wrong?
You should be an actor. That was classic.
Okay, it's gonna be.
I don't even remember Happy Days. I don't know who's the most.
I don't even know what Happy Days is.
Oh, Happy Days.
Oh yeah, there's a song.
Trying to channel my Macaulay Culkin energy, but then I forgot Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone, so I said Happy Days.
No
so
respect, because I was thinking former child stars. I had nothing but Hannah Montana.
That was
and
weirdly
she's still Miley Cyrus.
specific.
That's the thing. So.
Yeah, and honestly, Wrecking Ball slaps.
It does.
Her cover of Jolene
to
also
Miley Cyrus.
slapper.
Also, it was her way to get out of her Disney contract. The whole Wrecking Ball rubbing crotch thing. Let's go ahead and move on. Caedrel, the last fight.
Oh God, here we go. Play by play.
What's his challenge? Cast like it was the oh no.
Oh my God.
And he loves F1.
Oh, I don't know.
And the casters,
David
the F1
Croft is not allowed
casters
to
are
watch
sick.
this.
They are good. They are really talented
They are.
people.
It depends on the last lap of the race. It's almost okay.
Okay, so it's like names and it's speed and it's corners and we're off.
Okay, so coming around the last corner here, has the DRS Sansa a full move speed, manages to get the engaged knock up as well. It's insane, the kilometers per hour, the horsepower that Misfits have, slapping SK in the face. They're gonna cross the finish line. Misfits are gonna take down SK, and this will be their 7th win in the season of Summer.
Yes, indeed, Caedrel, and through Gambon and across the line.
A little Silverstone reference, I like that.
Yeah, a little bit of Gambon in there.
I can't decide if that was the worst content or the best content we've ever made.
No, Gambon's Top Gear. It's not Silverstone.
Yeah,
what am I saying?
I was trying to do a little Jeremy
Give me my
Clarkson.
caffeine back.
Sorry, yeah, you probably need it.
I need caffeine
more than
as
I
well.
do. And do you know what? Do you know what I think we could talk about? I don't know. That was a record scratch. Stop! It's me that makes the horrible noises on the microphone. As we all just did. Actually, we all just did that. But we want to talk a little bit about Zanzara because he has a 100% pick rate. Let me try again. 100% success rate in the LEC right now. You know, I mean, 2 for 2.
That game was
That game was an absolute slaughter, and I just want to say that I love Zanzara, and I'm in the Zanzara fan camp, and he did deserve that. But like next week, every team is not going to give him Poppy. So more needs to come from Misfits. But today is Zanzara's day and Misfits days, and it is well earned.
He is our key player of the game as well. I've got to make sure I let you know that he does take it again. But yeah, 100% success rate in the LEC, 2 for 2.
And I have to say, I can kind of see why SK picked Alistar because it's really good to Sivir. You know, Caitlyn, Draven, Alistar, good picks in Sivir. But when you just look out, you know, you zoom out from the it's good in my lane and you're like, okay, I've got Alistar now. I've got Vi and there's a Poppy. It's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, all right, man.
Now what? So I can see where SK were going with it, but good game by Misfits.
A really good game. And the fact that, you know, we had Analysts, Broxah included, was saying that they thought SK had it. Caedrel thought the same. Well, a stomp from Misfits, and they do go 2-0 in this week. A big win, and Zanzara a big part of it. But up next, Astralis, they take on Rogue. So let's send it over to Broxah and Quickshot for the call.
Thank you very much. I'll try and catch whatever you just knocked us away. Welcome back to the cast today. Astralis taking on Rogue. Unfortunately, the game will be played online due to that positive COVID case. And let's talk a little bit about this matchup because Rogue, their early game for the last couple of games has sucked. They've lost 2 in a row, yesterday as well as last week. And I think it's one of the things that you don't really expect. Rogue are a slow team, but they don't normally lose the early game like as badly, especially yesterday against Misfits.
Yeah, I think when Rogue are at their best, they're not really making a lot of things happen, but they're good at just slowing the game down and waiting for Malrang to find opportunities. But both yesterday as well as last week, Malrang hasn't really been able to be that playmaker that we like, you know, to see in him.
Well, let's find out if they can. Loading up onto Picks and Bands with some dramatic music. Welcome to Picks and Bands. So yesterday, Broxah, you and I got to have a little bit of fun talking of the music. Today we don't. We get to watch them back and see which one we prefer. It's for science. But let's talk about Picks and Bands, yeah. Astralis and Rogue. Taliyah has been one of the major talking points all weekend. A couple of first picks yesterday. It was discussed in Ready Check today. It was banned by Misfits Blue Side and no professional games for Vizio. So can that boy even play the champion? Question for another day. The reason I bring it up, it could be another first pick because we've seen this several times.
I think at this point, there's 2 champions that you have to ban if you're a red side. You cannot play the game against Yuumi and Taliyah so far. I haven't seen a team that was able to prove me wrong. These 2 champions are so strong. For now, we're seeing 2 standard bans from Astralis and Kalista especially, but also Gwen, who's a very strong top lane pick. Diana, mostly a comfort pick, being taken away from Xerxe. Interesting part being that Xerxe actually hasn't played Diana yet this season, so I'm assuming this is something they've seen at some point in scrims that they know he's a very strong Diana. But yeah, Siri gone too. We usually see, you know, if not one of, then both of these AD carries being taken away just because of how strong they are.
Siri, as you mentioned, the Yuumi's still open. Will it be blue or red side ban? I do expect it to get removed. Taliyah is still up. Gnar is still up. Poppy is still up. All of those hugely impactful champions. The cat gets put back in the bag, so yet another time banned, and now Rogue will have to prioritize what do they want to remove, and you know, obviously then what do Astralis want to lock in? Dajor ran the Orianna yesterday, if I recall correctly. One boo from one British fella here in the crowd who is back today, but I don't know if he'll be leaning that way again.
Well, I think there's a few options available now. We see Taliyah, we see Poppy, Renata. Those are the prior picks that I'm looking at. Orianna will be taken away. And it looks like, you know, Astralis don't even care about any of those 3 champions I mentioned. They want the Gangplank, a champion that Vizicsacsi has been shining on this season. So getting that pick for him does make sense. However, I am wondering if giving up Taliyah as well as Poppy or Renata is actually going to be worth it. It could also be that they're going to pick Taliyah with Gnar because they don't want to blind pick and just get the answer into GP, but who really knows?
Yeah, I mean, more interesting here. Malrang going Trundle over Poppy?
So
what are you making this?
The logic is that Trundle is actually a good answer into Poppy, and often when we see Poppy just being picked right away, it's because Trundle has been banned. Now, when you do blind Trundle, it puts you in a position where the opposing jungler can play something super aggressive, because Trundle has a little bit of a harder time defending himself in the early game despite being a strong duelist. If Xerxe locks in Italy, I would be so happy. Goes for the standard route instead of the Wukong. I just thought it was going to be a spicy one here throw, but he let us down. But still a strong standard drafts for both sides. I think Dajor is going to have to pick his response to Taliyah here. He does, he takes the Ahri. I think it's really one of the best matchups you can get in the mid lane, because Taliyah is so powerful and you need something that can match the playmaking, the early game power.
I mean, I really like that, as you mentioned. And also, I was just taking a look at Xerxe's gameplay stats. 4 professional games on Poppy, 4 professional games on Wukong. So both of these new additions to the kit. I think the Diana target away from him, not too surprising, because it is in his top 12 most played, a thing that he has seen several times. The reply now from Odo, he's going to be locking in the Gnar into the Gangplank, and it was Odoamne's Gangplank 3 games ago that was so impactful and so pivotal. Now Rogue 2 games in a row they've lost. They've got the Taliyah, they've got the Trundle, they've got the Gnar. Bot laners for both squads is what we're looking for, and there's been a number of bans. Like TK's gone, Senna's gone, so we're going to start moving down the priority list. Jinx, Aphelios, Sivir are the ones that have raised in priority this weekend.
You could even look for the likes of Draven if you want something a little more aggressive, if you want a strong lane. Hard to say if that's something any of the teams are going to go for, but the scaling, team fighting picks you mentioned, those are the safe options. Now, at this point, few supports, few AD carries gone. Renata is also banned here. I was about to say that's the best option available, and we could see a very interesting bot lane matchup here. Maybe something a little unconventional.
Are you surprised, by the way, that Nautilus has not seen as much play? Because I think he's been open a few games and we haven't seen him. It was something I was expecting to see more of.
So I think Nautilus is a pick that's having so much success in other regions, like the LPL for in particular. He's always been amazing because of how good they are at setting up fights and utilizing him. But in Europe, we're having more of a slow style overall, which is why the meta is slightly different. It was the same with what we saw in the previous draft. If we look at LCK, if we look at LPL, I think I would have liked the early VoD, the early Silas draft, but it's just, that's not the playstyle we have here, and into Misfits in particular, it just didn't work. So I think prioritizing the AD carry, getting the Aphelios is pretty smart all around. Astralis picking a comp that I think fits their playstyle really well, because I look at this comp and I'm thinking, we're playing slow, we're playing for objectives, and that's what Astralis is good at. They're not looking for those cheesy early ganks or aggressive plays. They just want a slow game where they can set up, play the macro in mid and late game. And right as I say that, they lock in a playmaking support, Trevor.
Okay. So they've also got all that wave clear to buy all the time. Gangplank bounce, Sivir. Bard was banned yesterday, and I think game 4, game 5. Do you like how it fits into this comp? I mean, Cosmic Radiance can come down, block somebody up, and then chase forwards?
I think it's interesting with the Ahri in particular, because now you have a mid-jungle support, a trio that can make so many nice plays and that can really, make things happen in the early game. So I love it. A little bit, sad we don't get the Pike, but I really like the Lulu here from Trymbi. Trymbi has shown time and time again he's so good in enchanters, and now being Aphelios in this game, you can be really, really comfortable because you have Trundle Gnar in front of you. You obviously have solid AP damage from Taliyah. You have the Lulu to peel for you. And I think while there's going to be some threat on him into Astralis' comp is set up for success this time.
Now, if comp is set up for success, I'm taking a quick look through Trymbi's all-time Lulu stats. While I'm looking that up, zoom out and how do these two compositions match up into one another?
So, for top lane in particular, I'm expecting GP to play slightly aggressive early into the Gnar. That's what he wants to do. He wants to pressure because it's a strong matchup for him, level 1. Mid lane, there can be some trading going on, some fighting. That might be an area where the junglers can contest. And for the bot lane in particular, I don't think we're going to see that much action with the support matchup, but the 3v3 is going to be really interesting because Bard wants to get out of bot lane. He wants to roam and make plays, and Lulu is not that strong in following.
Let's see if he can. It's Astralis versus Rogue. Now, I love the extra dimension of Multiverse League of Legends. Broxah, that was a great breakdown in terms of some of the lane matchups and what to expect. I want to evaluate what the decisions from our players are. I want to see Rogue have a stronger early game than they have demonstrated in the last few matches. As I mentioned yesterday, down 4,000 gold by 14 minutes against Misfits. And I also just want to say one last thing here. Lulu is about the 8th or 9th most played champion here for Trymbi. He has 10 professional games. He's won 6 of them. Now, when I look over at JeongHoon, he's over 100 games played. Bard is his second most played with 15. So more than 10% of the games he's ever played on stage or professional tier is this champion. Unfortunately for him, he's only won 3 of them. So it is a pick, obviously, he likes to play, but has not yet found the success that he will hope for.
I have always loved Bard as a jungler. Most teams that I've been on, I've tried to convince my support, my coaches to lock in Bard more often, because as a jungler, he gives you exactly what you want. He's strong early game, he has a lot of playmaking, he's roaming with you, he's pressuring, he's just setting you up for success. And with that pick, that's really what needs to happen. We need to see the top side from Astralis play a little more aggressive than usual and use Bard's roaming to their advantage to get, you know, a lead in the early game. Because Rogue, with the Lulu, they're so happy to scale, and Bard doesn't want to let them.
The thing that I love as well is if Bard is doing that, it will allow, obviously, Sivir to not only pick up a lot of experience, but with those ricochets, with that boomerang, you can control the lane state relatively well. I don't know how hard it'll be to get punished by the Lulu either. So for Astralis, exactly like you talked about, Broxah, a lot of abilities to slow the game down, control the tempo, get levels up. Right now, JeongHoon will be able to find that binding against the wall. Comp below 110 HP. Sidesteps the boomerang blade. Malrang stepping forward. Kobbe's in trouble. The revice, I think, is available. No, it's going to be throwing down the W. Flash for Chomp. No pillar. Not level 3 for Malrang, but he will get Flash, and Ignite from the bot laners.
That's actually impressive. Having the Q, having the W, not having pillar, but still getting them to burn every summoner except the heal couldn't have gone any better. Respectable for Malrang, seeing that opportunity. But now, as a result, Xerxe has the level advantage and he knows he can go for that play. Malrang also not having flash over.
There is support. JeongHoon already moving into the jungle. Trymbi's coming to support in the middle lane. Larssen is being pressured backwards. Grump's stolen away. This is going to be able to just decoy over the wall. Really nicely done. Cheeky play. Keeping Malrang at level 2, and it does not look like they're going to stick around for that blue buff. I wondered how bold they were feeling, and at least for the moment, Xerxe, he's thinking about it, Broxah. He's thinking about it.
He wants to go for it, but the problem is he doesn't have smite anymore. So for this blue invade to work, they have to push the Trundle out all the way. Looks like they're going to go for it regardless, knowing they have both mid push and bot push. No. Decides to leave after all. I think more than anything he wanted to make sure Malrang wasn't on it, because obviously if you can waste enemy jungler's time, you're always gonna want to do that.
I mean, it's a win even though they didn't get the buff. Level 3 and Scuttle. Malrang's just dinged 3.
See, Malrang doesn't even want the blue now.
Yes.
He's worried something bad is gonna happen to him, and this is the downside of the level 2 ganks. Sure, you can look for a play, sure you burn the summoners, but now it's gonna haunt you for a while.
Oh man, Dajor and Xerxe jumping onto Malrang. He's in so much trouble. The pillar of filth gets thrown up in that OG skin. One last auto. And if you are Malrang right now, you are fuming, because we wanted to see him helping this early game, and he has just been focused.
I, like the level 2 gang on one side, but the thing is, it's gonna make Xerxe's game so easy, and you can see it here. Xerxe is reading Malrang like a book. Malrang thought Xerxe was gonna go for the blue buff, he didn't. And instead, he walks into the river thinking he's safe. Obviously wasn't the case, he gets caught out without flash up, has no way of escaping, and all of a sudden, the aggression that we wanted to see from Astralis, it's been made so easy for them, and now with the lead, I think we can expect more of it.
I know this is so early, and please do not yell at me for saying this, but I am going to say it now. Rogue have lost 2 games in a row. They were beaten by Misfits yesterday in what eventually was a closely contested match. Rogue were very clearly beaten in the early game by Misfits yesterday. And they're now falling behind already, nearly 1,000 gold. There's an advantage in that mid lane. Dajor on the Ahri was able to pick that up into the Taliyah. I already have some nerves in me here, you know, for Rogue, who have looked shakier and shakier as the games are going on. Luckily, they do have a significant number of wins under their belt, so, you know, when you look to playoffs, they can, quote-unquote, afford to lose some games. But you definitely don't want to see more decisions getting punished if Rogue want to turn this game around, if they want to win this one.
I think Rogue being in a bit of a luxurious position in spring with Malrang, finding all these opportunities and always putting them ahead is haunting them a little bit now in summer, because all of a sudden they are, you know, relying so heavily on Malrang, making everything happen in the early game. There's a lot of pressure on him to do so, and when he doesn't, which he hasn't yesterday and last week, they look like such a different team in the early game, and they just have to try to catch up. Almost every game, it feels like.
Yeah, it really does. Right now, Malrang at the very least has evened out that level difference. He's picked up the Grumps, and when you see the experience, Malrang and Xerxe both sitting about bang on even. Small adjustments throughout the game. I want to track whether or not any further punishment can happen, because the CS difference between Xerxe and Malrang is affording a minor 400 gold lead. JeongHoon already stepping forward with that magical jet, just threatening some potential engage, you know, playing mind games here with Comp and Trymbi. And Xerxe will just get spotted out, but here comes Larssen. Weaver's Wall will be used. JeongHoon is caught out. No flash, remember, from the early engage, and Rogue on the board. That was a great punish.
That's the Taliyah effect, Trevor. We see it right there. Having the prio, being able to even drop a wave if needed, to move, to look for the ult. This is something we saw being done a lot of times yesterday by Niski in particular. So good at finding an angle on the wall to get these easy picks, and that's exactly what Larssen did here. These are gonna be the best openings for Rogue. Try to set your Taliyah up, but it's not gonna be easy with Ahri having a kill either.
No, it's really not. I think Vedius used a line yesterday for Niski. We said, Niski's a player who uses his health bar as an expendable resource to get a lead. I thought that was such a beautiful visualization of the player. I think Larssen is very good at setting his team up as well, but not quite in the same way, you know, not quite as bullheaded maybe. And this time around, elegant, great use of that Weaver's Wall. The Analysts again also talked about how impactful it can be. It just set up a really hook, line, and sinker, easy kill. But I think back to the drama of Malrang. Broxah, how bad do you feel as a player, as a former jungler, looking at Malrang and knowing the pressure he's been put under with this invade again? He knew there was threat in that red buff.
I really like it. I actually thought about it when Malrang died the first time, that now, if only Astralis goes for that red invade, knowing that Malrang Rogue is not going to be able to contest, and that's exactly what they do. And the beauty of it is that it wasn't only Xerxe being there, it was Dajor, it was JeongHoon roaming from bot lane, basically making it impossible for Malrang to catch up. And now Xerxe is level 6, Malrang is going to get it as well in a moment, and Herald has just spawned, so that's the big objective that's up now.
We'll have to find out if they're going to fight for it. I mean, we've talked so much about Heralds and how impactful it can be. We also expected this to be an early game, a slow early game. We anticipated it. There's been a few plays, don't get me wrong, but we haven't even looked at Odo and Chachi. I just want to mention that the two waves are continually trading and fighting. Thank you, observers. That was very well timed. As is to be expected, very early levels, minor advantage here for Odo. It should be cleared up instantly by this powder keg. And if I look at that mini-map, Xerxe starting to work on that Herald. No threats, no contest, no one pushing for it. So snuck this one away, picked it up safely, however you want to frame it.
Yeah, it could even be that Rogue were aware that he was on it, but the problem for them was that while Xerxe was doing Herald, his bot lane had a full push out and Rogue were catching on the turret, so if Rogue had tried to contest topside, it would quickly turn into a 3 versus 5 with Astralis' bot lane moving up.
Now let's talk about Astralis' bot lane, because you wanted to see Bard making some moves around the map, right? When do you hope to see that? Like, we're 9 minutes in, Tower's not really under a huge amount of pressure, but with Herald secured, Dragon secured, it starts to feel like around about this time, some roaming can now be a little bit more expected.
Yeah, definitely. I think at this point, especially with them having Herald, Bard can start involving himself, set up some vision with the Wukong, look for a good opportunity to place it. But already at this point, we've seen some good moves from JeongHoon, because the roam to the red buff is one thing, but just the fact that they're continuously pushing bot lane, we see it right now. JeongHoon moves in the river constantly, looking for plays and openings, and this is part of why Xerxe can go for this play.
Oh man, if anybody knows Mike Flanagan, we can ask him to write a series on the haunting of Rogue Malrang. This is just a player that is consistently being pushed around. He's down a level, down 20 odd creeps for now, down nearly 700 or nearly 1,000 gold. It's not like game-changing, don't get me wrong, but when you are able to control a player as pivotal as Malrang is for Rogue, it is a good sign for Astralis, a team that, again, you know, yesterday had a very close back and forth with SK. They ended up losing that game, but it frankly could have gone either way. There were some great mechanical moves. There were some small whoopsies here and there. But for Astralis, looking at how close this table is, they're still in with the shot at playoffs. So they're still in looking at that postseason, and they're looking at a struggling Rogue who've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, this game could still go either way. Obviously, we're only, you know, sitting with a not even 300. It just moved to even game between the two. So no gold lead for Astralis anymore. It's basically been evened out. They do have a slight lead on Xerxe still, who's also with the Herald, and we see the JeongHoon roaming right now, just like we expected it to. Sneaky little stop there on the base. Astralis moving their bot lane to top, but we see Rogue actually being good at responding, because Rogue's bot lane also based immediately. Odoamne TP's down to bot lane, so they don't lose any farm there.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, sitting on a fair amount of gold for the time being. Nah, doesn't get to back, does manage to make it in lane to at least catch Chachi. The fact that Herald is up, 2/3 of the cooldown's been used. I wonder whether Xerxe will drop that with this duo in the top lane, or where is he going right now? Pushing into mid, maybe. Can also put pressure on mid lane. 2.5 minutes to go until Dragon. If you can get Taliyah's tower taken down, limit some of the ease of use to move around the map. But every time I look at the minimap, everyone's moving everywhere. I mean, a second ago, Kobbe went to go catch that wave top. He's now backed, going back down to the bottom lane. Chachi's TP and Cannon Barrage are used. Odo's TP's used. So it's like this chess game of moving pieces around.
It really is, and I very much like it, because right now you can see Astralis finally put themselves in a situation where Rogue's bot lane wasn't able to follow. Unfortunate part being that GP ult isn't up yet, so they can't really clear out the top wave.
Ooh,
nice battle by JeongHoon.
Tempered Fate into the binding. Okay, that will secure the kill, but it is at the cost of a tower. Rift Herald can get dropped here by Xerxe. Do they push for the second? While that's going on, 3 members of Rogue are pushing in the top lane. So cross map here. Rogue end up getting the very first tower. It's just about to fall in a second. Will the Herald be able to help? No, there's no minions left. There's no minions for Rogue. They haven't been able to secure top. Who gets it first? It will be secured here by Astralis. So huge win, Broxah.
I like the idea by Astralis a lot, but the play just didn't work out the way they wanted it to, because their idea was to shift their bot lane back down to get, you know, the advantage over the Gnar and being able to get those 5 plates for free, which they did. But the problem was that for this play to work out perfectly, they need GP ult, because that's the strength of GP.
Yeah.
When you shift away and when you have your bot lane into the enemy top who's, you know, not able to defend, you just TP ult the other wave, and the other side doesn't get anything. But the ult was up so late that they ended up losing their turret anyways.
Man, Astralis, they extend that gold lead even further. Now up to about 2,000 gold. Rogue are able to at least get 1 tower back. They do have a dragon under the belt. The next one's spawning in 50 seconds, but with that tower on the bottom be secured, a couple of wards placed in the river, I think I have to commend Astralis' vision here. Great defensive vision as well as dragon setup.
And that is the upside of going for that play, because sure, they trade turrets, but they got the Herald to hit tier 2, and not only that, they got so much control over the dragon that's now up in 30 seconds. It's gonna be really hard for Rogue to walk in and contest this, but who knows? You know, Larssen has just pushed in the top wave. He's going to move down, and it seems like they're going to start grouping for the mid-pro, because for them to have a chance here, they're going to want that mid-pro.
Broxah's really well pointed out. Got to control those waves. You can see in the bottom lane, Dajor shoving out bottom. If Astralis can at least fend this off, they make the first move into the river. Got to be a little careful on this next minion wave. Astralis now conceding river control.
It's a bit of a tricky one for them, because Vizicsacsi is being a little bit of a slowpoke here. He was sitting top for so long, not having TP available, that Odoamne you know, Larssen being there so early ended up giving Rogue the opportunity to walk in, get the vision, and Vizicsacsi is now finally with the team, but they don't have the same control anymore.
No, they
so
don't.
It's a little bit more even.
And also, did you see the vision toggle there from our observers? Rogue, they could have punished, but they didn't know. They didn't have vision on Chachi. They were looking into the darkness. They played with maybe too much respect. I don't know.
And that's really well played by Sachi, to be honest, because we saw it on our screen. The guy is tough. Rogue can go in. They could even force Dragon. But he stayed in the fog of war. Rogue had no idea. And imagine if he showed on the top wave, Drake would have been gone right away. So Vizicsacsi realized he was, you know, in the wrong place, but he just stayed in fog of war. Vision is so important, guys, and he used it to his advantage.
It worked perfectly. Rogue paying too much respect, maybe. Secondly, Larssen using the Weaver's Wall. I don't want to say defensively, but it felt a little bit that way. Astralis pick up the second Herald. They pull further ahead. I'm starting to get the feeling now that this is moving away. The game is close, like on technical levels. But I think the way that Astralis are playing, they're controlling the pace of the game. There's a 2-level advantage in the jungle, by the way. Like, that has continued to accelerate. Odo's a little bit of the shining star here, out CSing and out experience on Chachi. So he needs to have a gigantic team fight, I think, to try to claw back this deficit, because it could quickly run out of hand. When you look at these champions, you know, picks from Bard, engage from Sivir and Wukong, side lane pressure from Gangplank, like Astralis have all the tools to continue extending this lead.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, it's one of those scenarios where if you're Rogue, you're still going to be fairly comfortable because you know that you are really good at team fighting, you're good at scaling and playing in the mid and late game. So they're just going to tell themselves to just chill, take it slow, set up some defensive vision, wait for Astralis to make a mistake, which they most likely will based off of what we're seeing in the LEC at the moment. There's a lot of throws going on. So they just have to be patient, wait for the right opportunity, and then maybe they can find a way to crawl back. But it's really in Astralis' hands right now because so far they have been snowballing fairly clean.
There is one thing I do want you to help me understand. From Rogue's perspective, I can see a number of options of like flanking tools available to them. You know, pick potential with the Taliyah. Go, Shelly, go! Hey, there we go. Thank you, Berlin. This is like, it warms my heart. I just don't know if I should stop talking or just wait it to happen. Like, it's great background noise. Thank you. Rogue's engage tools are quite unique. They're not as clear as Sivir, Wukong, press R, go, right? So that means I think we need to look for vision setup. We need to look for some side lane or like flanking opportunities. Is that like fair to say?
That is definitely the case. It's going to come down to Odoamne finding opening, to Larssen being able to utilize the ultimate really well to wall someone off. But for what it's worth, there's no tank on Astralis' side. And while they can just press their buttons and run into Rogue, Rogue has pretty good disengage and peel. And once Larssen and Comp gets their items, they're gonna deal so much damage and should be able to almost one-shot anyone coming at them.
Oh, so if you press all your buttons and run in the wrong direction, you're screwed, right? So
yeah, if you run a little too far, you know?
Oh, okay. So Astralis, 2 minutes to go before the next dragon. We've got Hex Gates up. I also love Hex Gates for teams that need to flank, because look at this! Odoamne is being completely surrounded. All the buttons are pressed. That danger man, Broxah, is now a dead man. Astralis hunting.
And once again, Astralis having the deep vision, having the control, they're being fully aware of what Rogue is doing for more or less the entirety of this game, and super impressive job by them, just controlling the entire map so well. And with how this game has been playing out so far, you would expect that Astralis is the team fighting for the first place, because they've been very dominant.
Oh, very good. That's such a good time. Okay, so if you are on Discord, can I ask you guys to go vote? Discord.lec.gg. Will Astralis win this game? That's what I'm waiting to find out. I love checking in with the viewers at home, and it feels as though they have that opportunity. So, production, can you throw that graphic up for me? Will Astralis win this game? Discord.lec.gg. Get to in a sec. I literally just got the cue. The graphic was ready as you brought up that point, so I thought it was well timed. And I want to see whether or not fans agree. For Rogue, do you get really scared at week 6 that they're on the 2-game losing streak? They're in a difficult position against a team that's like 8th in the standings right now?
I think at this point in the split, it's both really interesting and a little bit worrying to me that we're at a stage in LEC where more or less everyone can beat everyone, and it doesn't really matter if you're first place or last place.
Yeah.
you know, anyone can come out on top.
First place or ninth place?
Yeah, ninth place.
Ninth
fair,
place.
you know.
Let's be-
I was considering to say ninth. You said it. Sorry, BDS.
That's a standings joke. Standings joke there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
but
I love this. Sorry to interrupt. Live vote, Broxah, as we're about to set up for the next Dragon, and 60% of the fans at home think Astralis are going to win this.
yeah, and to be fair, I would say this game is definitely in Astralis' hands. They have the ball right now. They just need to shoot it into the net and score. And Rogue, without that much engage, is going to have a little bit of a tricky time finding this opportunity, but let's see how it goes.
That Weaver's Wall will at least slow down any support. Dragon secured. That's number 2. Xerxe will be jumped on. Odo finds the kill. It is at the expense of a Dragon. So stacking up those late game options. And again, the observers highlighting the vision. I really, really like that. Rogue not willing to... Rogue not afraid to push into it. And now Odo is in trouble. Don't step forward, don't step forward! Mini Gnar is gonna get slapped by Brad. Kobbe stepping forward, teleport's being channeled as well. Oh no! Cyclone will knock up Larssen. Flash forward from Xerxe. He goes golden with a stopwatch, and the Pillar of Filth will slow down Malrang. Larssen's next to fall. Teleport into death. Malrang and Trymbi are now running for their lives. Com stepping forward. Moonlight Vigil is available. Magical journey into the Hex Gate. Dajor arrives to save and finish the day. He gets tagged up. Chases forward. Forces out the dash from Com. He uses the Gale Force. And now all of a sudden, Astralis, they've set this out to Baron.
That's a 4-0, Trevor. That was absolutely crazy by Astralis. What a setup. It all started with Odoamne being caught. And normally, in this case, when you see a teammate member that out of position, you need to make the call that you give him up. He made a mistake, you let him die, but Rogue all came in to try to help their friend in the top lane, and as a result, almost all of them died. They lose the Baron, and Astralis are in such a great position.
That might lose them. That might lose them the game. Look at the mini map, and I'm looking at the teleports. It's a late TP, right?
Yeah, so right now, the second they see 3 people jumping Odoamne, the second this happens, they just have to call it off. They have to try to push in mid, push in top, at least get some control on the other side. Because this, while Odoamne was dead, they could have gotten Baron control, but instead, obviously we see all of them coming here. There's a beautiful little detail happening from JeongHoon. Look at the flash, look at the zoning Q. Boom. It was absolutely... he wasn't even close to landing Malrang, but I'm sure it was his plan all along. We see... Is it happening again? He's
not again.
Basing. Can they stop it? They surely can. He doesn't have flash available.
It's happening again! Broxah literally crouched down like he was hunting, and Odoamne's drop.
Look at the stun.
Cosmic Binding connects! All of a sudden, Kobbe stepping forward on the hunt available to him. Does he fire the trigger? No. Instead, he doesn't even need it. Malrang gets a chomp down and is subjugated by time. By the way, level 13 on Xerxe's Wukong to level 10 on Malrang's Trundle. I do need to take a look at the total game gold here, brought to you by Santander, and wait for the animation. Kobbe, Comp, Xerxe, Xerxe, and Dajor in the top 5. I mean, that is as one-sided as they'll get in 3 minutes of gameplay.
I think coming into the split, if you told me Astralis would take Rogue and smash them into the ground the way they're doing it right now, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But this is such a dominant game from start to finish, all the way starting from Malrang being abused for his level 2 gank.
Yes.
They took that one mistake and they've absolutely taken over from that point, and that's exactly what we want to see. It's these small things that, you know, showcases that you're a great team.
I'm going to clarify, the joke I'm about to make may not be the most politically correct, but if you'd said to me last week, after Friday, will Astralis be stomping Rogue in the early game? I would have said, have you taken your medication, my friend? Because I did not expect this at all. But the last 3 games, some of the decision-making has been punished, but let's not take anything away. Astralis have set these plays up. They have been proactive. They have found the hunts. I think JeongHoon's Bard has been hugely impactful as well.
I love seeing this guy play these playmakers. It's so good to see. He reminds me of Vizicsacsi in so many ways, with his ability to make roam and make roams and plays, find opportunities. We saw his pike before being so beautiful.
Yes.
It looks like the Bard is the same standard. Like, can we just have this guy playing playmakers every single game, please? What a performance from JeongHoon and from Astralis as a whole. You could really say every single one of their members have played almost flawlessly this game. We saw the one mistake from Vizicsacsi getting caught around Drake. We saw JeongHoon getting caught by Larssen earlier. But outside of those mistakes, it's just been so clean.
It has, and look at the standings on the side now. If Astralis close this out, they're in a great position. They still have a lot of work to do. Please don't misunderstand. Moving up to 6 and 7, and you look how close they are to the top of the table. If Rogue lose another game, that first, second, a place going in the playoffs will be huge. All of a sudden, all right, 20 seconds for the next Drake. Odoamne is in a flanking opportunity, but JeongHoon slowed him down. Weaver's wall will cut them off. I feel like JeongHoon's distraction mitigated that engage, but it might be a little bit overreaching.
Look at Dajor right now. Dajor is just pushing top, hitting the tier 2 right now. Rogue knows they have to go for the all-in, and they sure do.
They do! They get the kill, Broxah. Flash engage from Odo, but the tower is secured top. Okay, Astralis, cross-mapping, if I can say that, the Dragon will be conceded only the second of the game. Teleport being used as well. That's another investment on the summoner spell. Charm will connect onto Larssen, and that means it's not available, and Xerxe backs out. So Dragon secured, 2-2. 9,000 gold advantage for Astralis. Barrels thrown out, Trymbi gets blown up. Comp is now firing on all cylinders. Chachi's going to be in trouble. Pillar of Filth comes up, Comp running for his life. Here comes Dajor. He's been able to recall. The Orb of Deception flies forward, but won't find the kills. Finally, that's one back. Rogue have got the Dragon, but they've lost 2. They're about to lose 3. They're about to lose 4. Broxah, it happened again. They are chasing Astralis so hard and being punished for it.
This time around, Rogue finally found a good play in the river. They found the 1 kill, they got the Dragon, and they should have been happy with that. But no, they wanted more, they got greedy, and Astralis were ready to punish them for it big time. Once again, you know, coming out on top. And this was really a shame, because I was actually about to criticize Astralis, because I think the setup going into the Drake scenario was beautiful, putting the Ahri in top lane, having TP available, but now we see what happened. Astralis' members on bot side, they walked up a little bit too aggressively. Rogue came in, they punished them, and now all of a sudden, there's no chance for Astralis to get Drake anymore, but Rogue, they go in deep. And this play is just, it's so random, Trevor, it doesn't make any sense to me. They don't have waves, they don't even have that many people around. Larssen base moved all the way to top lane, Odoamne is pushing bot, but come Trymbi and Malrang, they go completely crazy, walk into the enemy jungle, and their team tries to help them, but there's just nothing they can do. Larssen is farming top this entire time.
I think I'm going to butcher the saying, but there's a sports analogy called chasing the loss. And basically it's when a team or a player is in a position where they're significantly behind, they're really far down, so they have to make crazy plays. They have to really go for things to try and win, like come back. So even though it doesn't go well because you're in a bad position, it's like such a small margin of success. You're chasing the loss by these plays. That's what it feels like to me. Over diving, over chasing, we can do it, we can get the kill, we can get some gold back, and it's too far, it's too aggressive. And that means Rogue are now 10,000 gold down. Baron number 2 is being started. Astralis are more under threat than they were the first time round. Can Rogue secure this? Flash and Smite available. Level 12 Smite to level 15 Smite. Astralis, good trigger discipline for now. They're not getting it below 3,500. They're backing out.
They don't want to 50-50 this.
Don't flip.
Both Smites do deal 900 damage right now. And they know that if Trundle gets into the pit, which he can with his flash, this could potentially lose them the game. So I think from Astralis, it makes sense to drop the Baron here, wait until they have better control. Because it's a little bit too early to go for it. They want more deep vision in the enemy jungle. They want to put themselves in a scenario where if they can't finish Baron, at least they can look for the play. But they're just lagging vision, lagging control. And all in all, they go for the patient play. They do what Rogue should have done before.
Yeah.
They just wait for a better opportunity.
Control, coordination, communication. Astralis have had a pretty good game. It is also, by the way, the pace that we were expecting. These are 2 of the teams that are a little slower, and I want to remind everybody who's watching, Broxah talked about draft. He talked about how Astralis' company wants to control things. It wants to scale up. We're 30 minutes in, 3 or 4 items to go. They're not putting themselves in an overly risky position, and if you look at the minimap, there are so many bounties available for Rogue. 3,500 gold lead for Xerxe in the jungle, 2,000 in mid, 2,000 bottom, nearly 2,000 in top lane. This time around, they may be a bit more optimistic. 6,000 HP, 3,000 HP. Weaver's wall used. That's it! Tempered Fate comes down. Malrang is locked in a golden statue. And I mean, that was just a beautiful Baron take.
yeah, honor JeongHoon for that ult, because the problem is if JeongHoon doesn't land that ult, then all of a sudden it's gonna get awkward again. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna 50-50? Are they gonna, you know, are they gonna leave? But JeongHoon gets the ult off. Malrang has no way of stealing. They get the Baron. That's 50 minutes for the next dragon, and now we see Astralis coming in. They have a lot of items, Max. Just look at Sivir right now. 4 items completed. She's going to be absolutely monstrous in this next fight.
Oh, I'm literally holding my fingers. Trymbi's in trouble. Cannon Barrage was committed by Xerxe. It does get the flash out of Trymbi. And remember, the Red Bull Baron power play is now activated. Minions surging through the middle lane. Bottom and top also pushing towards Rogue. So Astralis, I think, are in a good position here to take advantage of the Baron empowered minions. Looking for a fight opportunity. No on the hunt. No Cannon Barrage. But it's only about 7 seconds before that Sivir ultimate's back up and available. So will be a potential fight starter. Xerxe gets chunked. A lot of damage. Pillar of Filth. I should just call it Pillar of Ice. Pillar of Ice was used there to slow him down. And now the top lane tower is under pressure. I mean, I'm very impressed. I'm looking at this as a potential another upset win. Another loss for Rogue. 3 on the trot. That's what's on the cards. Look at that. 5 members. All the carries outshining Rogue. I mean, Broxah, this is just great control from Astralis as they've got the inhibitor.
And the problem for Rogue is that they just have no way of engaging and starting fights. There's nothing they can do being in this position. Astralis just runs in. Now, the Gnar is coming out. Odoamne does have flash. That is their one chance, but Astralis is also aware of that. They should be respecting. This is going to be hard for Odoamne. He does go for it.
But he only got JeongHoon. None of the damage dealers. None of the carries. None of the problem solvers. But comp is low. Trymbi's low. Dajor needs to close it out. Xerxe gets the cyclone. Here comes Xerxe. 1, 2, 3 fell. For a moment, it looked like it was going to work. But Astralis closed it out, and they're on the base. They've won the game.
That is pure desperation from Rogue going for that play. It's such a low chance of that working. Going all in on the support with Sivir just hitting for free from the back line. But all in all, what a horrible game from Rogue, but at the same time, such a clean snowball from Astralis.
The story of this game is simple. Rogue make a play, Astralis answer, punish, and win. Astralis take down Rogue. That was a very weird game.
I love that game on so many levels, because from a jungle perspective, seeing Xerxe take the small advantage and then continuing to snowball, build onto it for the entire game. What a performance from this man.
Here's a sentence I wasn't ready to say this weekend. Not only welcome to Castles Broxah, that's awesome. Number 2, Astralis go 2-0. That's a lie, they lost yesterday's game. I got it wrong, right? I'm just doubting myself.
Yeah, they were very close to winning yesterday. We thought they were going to win yesterday, but then JeongHoon went a little crazy and didn't allow it to happen.
What I'll rephrase, my producer's in my ear saying, good try, lol. What I was going to say, Astralis' 2 games were very good. I think I appreciate what they saw yesterday. Rogue are on a 3-game losing streak. Astralis taking down Rogue, and Rogue losing to Misfits is gigantic for playoffs. Key player of the game, ADC, Twitter, Xerxe, Kobbe, JeongHoon. You know the deal. For Astralis, amazing. For Rogue, shocking. For playoffs, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to say for the play of the game, this has to be the most beautiful jungle performance I've seen this personally. That was so well played by Xerxe. Loved his performance on the Wukong. The way he handled everything, starting from draft, getting the Wukong into Trundle, a matchup he was clearly comfortable with, and just taking over from start to finish. But as you're saying, this puts Astralis in a fairly comfortable position in the standings, and I'm so curious to see how they're going to do the upcoming weeks.
I mean, I really want to talk more about this, especially off air, about what this means for Rogue, because every move they had was punished. We do need to go to our break. We'll be hearing from Xerxe, and as we come back, Broxah and I'll cast one more game. I mean, just super interesting. It's just...
What a game.
You go to break. I'm very excited. There's a lot to talk about. Cheers, everyone.